Welcome, Prime Women, to our webinar on longevity, fasting, and weight loss. I'm Dorothy Shore, co-founder and CEO of Prime Women, and I'm delighted to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Rafael Gonzalez. Dr. Gonzalez is the scientific advisor to L-Nutra, the innovators of fasting with food and makers of Prolon 5-Day Fast and the Fast Bar. In addition to his understanding of the effects of fasting on cellular health and wellness, Dr. Gonzalez also has extensive knowledge in all aspects of cell biology and health. He's also very involved in stem cell research and teaches worldwide on regenerative medicine and maintaining immune health. Welcome, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you for having me here. Appreciate you guys. And I'm very excited actually to talk about diet and nutrition and in general, one, and two, specifically on Prolon, because it's a phenomenal method to maintain what we call homeostasis and health, meaning maintaining our health. And then most importantly, the ability to lose weight. Everybody out there wants to be able to lose weight. Or maintain it. A lot of people go through cycles of gaining some weight, and then you want to get back down. And it's a simplified method of doing it. Think of this when we talk about trying to lose a lot of weight. How do we do this? We essentially just cut calories, cut calories, cut calories. That's not the way Prolon has been designed. The best thing about Prolon is what we discuss is that it's had over 20 years of research. They've invested over $30 million in research on this specific diet. It's essentially a 5-day fast. It's simple 5-day fast that mimics like 3 days of a water fast. And you essentially start off with about 1,100 calories, and then you go down to 700, 800 calories a day for 5 days. But you are fasting with food. It mimics a true fast with food. And how does it do that? People say, how does it do that? How is this possible? Let's go back and look a little bit at cell biology and how this is able to be accomplished more than anything else. So in our body, remember, we have trillions of cells. And one of the things that we were just speaking about actually a little bit ago is essentially when you eat, you force cells in your body to do something, digest, metabolize, which are two different processes, one in the stomach, one in the liver, everything that's transpiring, everything that's coming in. What has to happen is cells have to divide. Every time a cell divides, we're actually aging in our body. What does Prolon do? It essentially puts our body into a state that our cells are happy, and it essentially puts it in that we can actually, put us in a fasting state, and a fasting state relatively quickly by feeding you the correct foods that have been studied throughout many, many years. So what we look at is essentially starting off with a simple bar, which that bar is phenomenal. I love that first morning bar in the morning. And then throughout the day, giving you specific foods. So there essentially really is no time frame that you're not eating. You're just limited on the amount of food, but you're eating, and it's like you're actually fasting, truly, truly fasting. The concept is simple: not to raise the glycemic index, including the Prolon fast bars. Those fast bars do not raise your glycemic index. And that's the concept behind this type of fasting. And everybody's heard quite a bit of lately. And what we do similarly in cells, for instance, something we were just talking about, just talking to Dorothy a little bit ago, was in vitro in a petri dish. When I grow cells, before, the standard in science is essentially taking cells and feeding them sugars, sugars, sugars. Now it's actually not like that anymore because it makes cells duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. We don't want that. Evidence demonstrates that we don't want cells to duplicate prematurely. We want to maintain them in a younger state. The way we maintain them in a younger state is by maintaining that glycemic index with cells. And this way, cells, what happens is they actually divide in an appropriate manner, not rapidly and not premature age. So what we're trying to do is several things. In Prolong is one, is find an easy way to lose weight. And that's easily by 5 days of eating, including clinical studies that we have actually done and we've actually demonstrated. So just imagine if you had to eat 500 calories a day for 2 months straight. We've actually demonstrated with two different 5-day fasts, 1 month 5-day fast with prolonged 1 month 5-day fast. We have equivalent results where you obtain a healthy reduction in body mass index, healthy reduction in weight loss, healthy reduction in waist circumference. In doing this, maintaining blood systolic healthy levels using this particular diet. So it's an easy, quick way to actually lose and maintain and be healthy. One. Two, most importantly, is people worry about, do I have to count? Do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? Not here. Not with Prolong. Prolong is really, really straightforward. I mean, we're talking essentially, we give you one box for one day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day. It is spelled out for you. Everything is inside of this box. You actually take and consume. All the instructions are in there, including a large bottle for you to make sure that you consume plenty of water and drink plenty of water through it. And this way you can actually get through the diet relatively quickly and healthy. You will notice in my personal experience, lost the first time 8 pounds, the second time 6 pounds, and this was doing it 1 month, then a month later. And then the thing about it is that you feel that you lose those sugar cravings as soon as you're off of it. You can actually tell physically how you actually feel because you feel phenomenal and you feel really, really healthy. So I'd like to see if we open up to some questions because I'm sure there's a lot of questions on this particular diet. And I, more than anything else, am here to help, here to explain to you what this diet actually can do for you, help you also understand some of the things that scientifically this diet has done and has been proven to do, some of the claims that we can actually make to show you that this diet is a fantastic diet for you. It ends up being about, I think it's about $38 a day, and everything is contained per day when you actually do the diet.
So I want to start off with, I know, and we talking earlier that you were saying that intermittent fasting has been the only thing that has been proven to extend life in terms
Correct.
of what we can do. Explain a little bit about why. Why is that? Why do you think that is the case?
Yeah, well, that has to do directly with one of the things that we look at is telomere biology. So, just a quick lesson in what a telomere is. A telomere is essentially a sequence at the end of our chromosomes that there's a direct correlation with aging. Every time a cell divides, look at the telomere as the end of a shoelace, those caps that are protected at the end of a shoelace. It's actually this similar type of a thing, but the end of a chromosome. And every time a cell divides, these sequences are cleaved. They're cut, they're cut, they're cut, they're cut. And intermittent fasting has been the only thing proven so far to stop that premature aging by slowing down that cleaving, or even in some instances, adding on these telomeres, these base pairs at the end of our chromosomes of our DNA. So it slows down the progression of essentially of aging. And it's essentially, if you look at it like this, what I just said is we are slowing down cells from dividing. We're stopping that process. We're slowing that process down. Not only that, when we discuss intermittent fasting, one of the only things proven to actually cause autophagy is intermittent fasting. Also, there's ways to do it, but intermittent fasting in general, it causes autophagy. And autophagy is our body's method, auto meaning ourselves, and phagi means to eat, our body's method of taking up things that have been released from cells and using them as nutrients. In this case, in autophagy, it's taking up toxins and using them as actual energy, taking up waste and using it as energy. And that transpires when we put our bodies in intermittent fasting mode. It's the easiest way to lose weight, especially this one, because I'm essentially giving you food. I'm telling you exactly what to do, and you will be really, really blown away with the results and how good you feel.
Dr. Gonzalez, there are a number of us, including myself, that have done the 5-day fast. And and everyone who's stuck with it obviously has gotten the results. I mean, I lost 5 pounds. I haven't lost 5 pounds in 5 days in my life that I know of. For one thing, it's hard. Most of the time, it's kind of hard not to stick to, but I do like the idea that your days are laid out. You've got, you got box 1, you got box day 2, day 3, day 4. But it is curious, to say, okay, it truly is a fast. And I think it is a fast because
Hmm.
I've been on diets and cutting food back and so 5 days, but this really felt like a fast in that I was really um, amazed at how my body was reacting to it. But how does that happen? What is it about the food that L-Nutra has developed that allows you to eat it and still lose weight and still be in a fast?
So essentially what we look at is, once again, controlling blood sugar levels, eating a specific way that we control blood sugar levels. Anytime we spike sugar, we remember all cells have one key thing. Everything that's consumed in our body has to do one thing, and it has to form sugar, which in essence is glucose. C6H12O6 is the molecule that anytime anything you put into your body, that is the final thing that is converted to produce energy. If we slow down that process and if we take different pathways, cellular different pathways, that's how this transpires. So the food specifically was designed to do this. That's why there's a sequence of the way you take in the food. Now, as long as you stick with that sequence, you'll see, like you said, everything is spelled out for you. As long as you stick with that sequence, it's pretty fine. For instance, for me, many people discuss it's a difficult, you just said it's difficult also, it could be difficult. Many people discuss that it's difficult. For me, I'm not a morning eater. So what I essentially do in this is I just wait as much as possible, and then I start eating at noon. And then I essentially eat in that window from noon to like 6. And within that window, then all of a sudden it feels like you see how many items are in there. It feels like you're consuming quite a bit of food. And it's not that difficult, that route. There's others that are the opposite. A lot of people discuss breakfast. I got to have breakfast. Then essentially you'll be the type of individual that you will consume, a lot of that stuff in sequence first thing in the morning, and you'll go through it that way. But remember, starting day 2, you have this bottle that's designed, and that's the little trick with Prolon. You have the glycerol based drink that it's based on weight. So everybody's different. And that's why it's based on weight. It's a little bottle that's on the side, and you'll mix it with water. And they give you that extremely large bottle of water so you can drink it. I take that, and I take that hibiscus packet that it comes with, that hibiscus tea, and I put it in there and mix it together. And essentially, it feels like I'm drinking a fantastic tea all day long. And I'll just sip on that, sip on that, sip on that. And then when I'm actually done with that, I'll leave that bag of tea in there, and I'll add more water, and I'll have a hibiscus tea that I'm essentially drinking because that it comes with various different bags of teas that you're able to use if you like. If you like to drink tea, go ahead and drink them.
One question here. This is an interesting one uh, from Marcia, and she says, I did the Prolong fast once, and it was extremely energizing, so much so that I had trouble sleeping. The fast says to not take the supplements, so I don't take any on my usual magnesium. Any suggestions?
Yeah, you're not supposed to take any supplements because we don't want to throw you, based on everything that's been done, we don't want to throw you out of that fast. My personal opinion is you could use magnesium at night. I know why you're using magnesium, because magnesium makes you relax. You can use it at night. Most likely the first couple days when you start this fast, you will have a lot of energy, and it may be a little bit of difficult. It may throw your sleep pattern off. When I do this fast, you want to avoid exercising, over exercising, do your standard walking. That's perfectly fine. I try to go to sleep as early as possible. I will drink a chamomile, a couple chamomiles at night. You can take chamomile. You just want to avoid excessive caffeine. So it's allowed for you, for the coffee drinkers out there, you can have 1 cup of black coffee a day. That's actually perfectly fine. But no more than that. You want to avoid caffeine because caffeine will also throw the diet off.
We've also got a question on what eating plan timing do you recommend after the 5-day program?
Eating light, essentially eating as specifically that first day, because essentially what we did is we've fed you optimal food. We fed you a plant-based fat diet that your digestive tract is feeling really, really well. And that has a lot to do with too, because we've eaten clean for so well. You don't want to start off by introducing the next morning by going into massive eggs, bacon, toast, all that. You want to eat lighter, maybe by starting off having a smoothie in the morning, eating some salads, eat all the salads you want, and then after that, just going to your normal diet. I mean, that's what's great about this, diet. Individuals that did this without doing anything else 2 months in a row lost a significant amount of weight, equivalent to those that did a 500 kilocalorie diet for 2 months straight. I couldn't even fathom that. 500 kilocalories, that's basically a medium-sized piece of chicken breast and a quarter wedge of salad every day for 2 months. That's crazy. But you get similar results with this diet.
One question I see here, and I've heard this from other people, they don't like olives. So they are asking, is there something else they could eat?
That's a great question. So there's only olives. I believe, if I'm correct, I think it's 2 or 3 days as a snack. It's only as a snack. These olives actually are fantastic. They're actually from Spain. They're some of the best olives. I'm not crazy about olives either. They're some of the best olives. And essentially, when we discuss olives, it's a little packet that has about 8 olives in it, is what's in there. So you're going to have to skip it. I would just, recommend skipping it, drinking more fluid. I can discuss that with the team, go back to the team and discuss, hey, is there something that we can substitute? At this point, nothing that I know of that we can substitute. But maybe we'll think about designing, something else that you can substitute for it.
They are great olives. We had a discussion about that yesterday. They're probably the best olives I've ever had. They're fabulous.
I'm of Spanish descent. I go to Spain, and they're very, very similar to these olives that are from Arbequina, which is where the best olives in the whole world come from. And these are fantastic. They're good. They are really good. Yeah.
They're great. They really are. There's another question about coffee, but they wanted to know about putting creamer in there.
No creamer, because essentially creamer is sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
Another one is says I'm a vegetarian. Is it vegetarian friendly? I believe it's vegan even, right?
Correct. Yes. It's vegetarian. Yes, it is. It's a vegetarian based diet.
So question about what happens after the 5-day fast. So I know that your all's recommendation is that you do this once a month. Why once a month?
Because all the studies that we've actually demonstrated show that you can if you do this once a month for 2 months, we've gotten great results, what we just described right now, which is in studies. And also once a month for 3 months, we've also got some fantastic results. So once a month, ultimately, it's up to you. I've done it once a month for 2 months, one time, saw greater results. And it's been, the last one I did was, I think it was about 2 months ago, but I had a 6-month, I did it, I hadn't done 6 months before that. So ultimately, it's up to you. It's ultimately what it's funny because I go back to it. Whenever I think that I've gained a little bit of weight, whenever I think that I've eaten incorrectly, for whatever amount of time, I just go back to it. I'm consistently going back to it because it's a simplified method of me not worry about, I'm not eating the right thing. Maybe I'm not eating right. How can I keep, focused and know exactly what I have to eat? It's just really, really, it's so easy. It's just really, really easy. It's just spelled out for you.
So, you have the fast bars. So Um, do you recommend that you would use the fast bar in between those times? Like, so you could do a 16-8?
That's a fantastic question because the fast bars were specifically designed not to raise your glycemic index. And what you can do is for those that do the 16-8, which is the way I do it on a daily basis, I eat on a daily basis. And what you can essentially do is if you feel that need, that hitting that 16 hours is difficult, that's what that fast bar is designed for, because it's not going to put that increase that glycemic index that we try to avoid, and it's going to it's going to maintain you in a fasting state. That bar was specifically designed for that. And I don't know about you, but that almond that coconut one is wow. I mean, I can eat those things all day long.
Yeah, they are good. I
I
think
could,
some
yeah.
some are exceptionally good. So
Yeah.
yes, that's a great idea. With um, intermittent fasting, I mean, that's one of the topics that we talk a lot about at Prime Women. As a matter of fact, we've got some of the highest ranking articles on that because we started with that a number of years ago. Dr. Catherine Waldrop, who's actually an OBGYN, she collaborated with us on developing a weight loss program that we call Plate. So she recommended intermittent fasting. So we are now incorporating the bars as a way for people who can't get to that 16-8 or they're really struggling with that. And I think that'll really make a difference for them.
It's a smart approach to actually do it. It's a really smart approach. The bars are very filling because they're high in a fat content. So it's a good way to do it. And many times I don't know why. I mean, probably most likely because sometimes I work out a little bit harder than other times early in the morning. It's hard to hit that 16 hours, and that helps me get to that 16 hours. And
That's
and
great.
it maintains that fasting state. Yeah.
Now you talk about clean eating, and we hear that a lot. So in your mind, what is clean eating?
It's essentially avoiding things that cause allergies and allergens and possible allergens. I, more than anything else, focus on the immune system because every single component of disease has an immune component to it. And whenever you eat something, think about this. You go and you eat something bad, and that bad thing will give you a headache immediately. You'll have indigestion or anything like that. It's because approximately 60% of our immune system is actually in our gut. And when you eat well, you feel good. You feel energized. You feel good. Avoiding allergens, avoiding things that can possibly, some people can drink milk, some people can't. Some people can take wheat, some people can't. I exceptionally find that here, at least in the United States, wheat-based products are way too processed, that they're difficult to digest, that they cause havoc in our gut, in our microbiome, and they're difficult. And these can cause problems, especially those that have autoimmune diseases. These is they can cause little flares. You can feel fantastic and you could be maintained even if you're taking medications, but then you eat something that is not clean for that individual and it can cause a problem. So ultimately we're unique. Every single one of us are completely unique in the way we're built, our DNA. And that's why you have to find out within yourself, what is appropriate for you, what works for you, how does it work for you, and understanding what you can and can't eat, especially as we age. The concept here is to have essentially health span, live long and healthy, not living feeling horribly and aged. We want to be able to do the exercise that we did when we were young, and we want to continue to live a healthy life.
Keto diets have been so extremely popular, and yet, you read some of these studies about eliminating whole grains and some of those things can association with cancer, etc. Is the vegan diet the healthiest diet that anyone could do, or vegetarian? What is your opinion?
It ultimately boils down to the individual. I personally don't feel well when I go strictly vegetarian. I don't feel well when I do it. It depends on the individual. It's very, very personalized. I can go through bouts of doing it, and I'm more of an adaptive type of diet individual, and our bodies are designed to be adaptive, to adapt and to make changes, and it actually works well with cells and cellular healing. So I change frequently. The keto-based diet is good, but a big but. You have to stick to it. It's difficult. You have to be able to maintain it. And if you veer off of it with the amount of fat that you've actually taken, it's completely counterintuitive because it causes health issues. You've got to stick to it. And then when you come off of it, you got to come off of it the right way. Because ultimately, when you combine fat and carbs, what we talk about more than anything else is atherosclerosis, heart issues, etc., that can transpire because then fat accumulates a lot faster and it causes a bunch of problems in our system.
Good. Okay. So we also had more questions back with the program. A question on using unsweetened almond milk in the coffee.
Probably not. I would tell you not to add it because then you're veering from the. I know it's difficult just to drink black, but essentially I get used to it. My morning consists of black coffee, of course, with coconut milk. Unprocessed refined coconut milk, so I get that good amount of fat. In their almond milk should fall under the same category. Coconut milk is a better option for it, but not when I'm on this diet. I just drink straight black coffee because that's what all the studies, that's how they were done.
There's a question about unsweetened tea. Of course, the program actually provides you with lots of teas, but they, of course, none have caffeine. So you will get lots of options to drink tea, more tea than I drank, quite frankly. But anyway, lots of teas. Also, people are asking, I see this a couple times, do you gain the weight back after you start eating a normal diet? I gained back 2, but it's been a whole 4 weeks. I've gained back 2 of the 5, which I'm pretty happy with. I don't know what your all's normal results are.
If you go back to your normal diet and if you do it 2 months consecutively, you will maintain a weight loss. A study that was done maintained a weight loss of at least 5 pounds when they did it 2 consecutive months. You will gain some weight back, of course, if you go back to your normal way you normally eat, but you'll maintain some of the weight loss from doing it. Like, for instance, I know myself, I still have maintained throughout. I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. I've still maintained off those 8 pounds from 1.5 years ago.
Just from my own experience, if I had gone on a diet like that for 5 days and limited my food intake that much, by now I would have put all 5 back on. So I do think that you keep most of it off. There's a comment about fish, but that's really not part of the
Not part of this.
Prolon, so not a problem. It says, if I want to fast 1 day a week and eat 1, 2, or 3 fast bars, would that still count as a fasting day?
If you
1 day
wanted
a week, just with fast bars.
1 day a week with fast bars, that essentially would just be a 24-hour, like you did a 24-hour fast, is what that would be. All I can tell you is that would be your own individual fast. You can try it, knock yourself out and try it yourself and see how you do. I've done similar, exactly what they're talking about right there. I've done similar myself, where I'll just eat 2 to 4 bars in 1 day, just drinking a lot of fluid for 24 hours, and you feel great. You essentially, no matter what, you've cut calories, you haven't introduced allergens, things that are bad for you, and especially if you like the bars, I would tell you not, go ahead and do it. My personal opinion is go ahead and give it a shot and see how you feel. And it's a fast.
Also, someone's saying they'd like to order bars, and what are your favorite flavors?
All of them, but mostly there's a coconut based macadamia nut one that is my favorite one. That one is. Chocolate's always good. Everybody loves chocolate, and the chocolate bars are good. I got to tell you, they're all good.
I like the honey something. Anyway, it's maybe one of the newer ones. I really like it. Of course, my favorite bar is in the Prolon fast, and I've had conversations with one of your people there about they need to be marketing that one that we can buy.
It's the first one in the morning.
Pardon?
The first one in the morning.
Well, yeah, the ones that are in the box. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah,
they're the best.
yeah. They are. Agreed.
But they're like you say, they're all good. I haven't found a single one bad. There's also another question. Someone they were on the site and wanted to buy just one, and it said it didn't look like you had to subscribe. You don't, by the way. I
You
know
don't.
that you can buy just one box, but don't buy it yet because we're providing the link here, but we're going to send you all an email right after this program with the link and a code that's going to get you $25 off on
Wow, that's a
top
great
of,
deal.
yeah, whatever your savings are there, we're going to get you $25 off. I do want to go back just a little bit because I know, sure, we're all focused on, losing weight and being the right weight and all that, but I think there is really a bigger issue involved here, and that's really about our long-term health. Can you just address that a little bit more for our audience?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we live in a society that's loaded with bad food, foods everywhere. We love to eat, and we socially eat. You know, it's comfort in many instances. But unfortunately, as we age, we have various different specific hormones in our body that don't allow our system to run optimal, and it's harder to metabolize these things. It's harder to burn those amount of calories that we burned when we were much younger. And food has changed. I mean, it's changed significantly with all the processing, with all the chemicals and everything that causes issues. The good thing out there is that there's a lot of, there's a lot of science. There's a lot of science, a lot more science now than there was back then. And you essentially, I mean, we all heard this when we were young, and it still lives, is you are what you eat. And if you don't eat healthy, you are not going to be healthy. And even if you want to veer, knock yourself out, you have to indulge, enjoy. You can't live like that. But at the same time, if you want to feel well, you have to eat healthy. I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. You can do, there's many, people discuss, you can take a ton of different supplements that cost an abundance of money, and they work well. I love supplements. I take a ton of them myself. But the most important thing you can actually do is eat well, eat healthy. There is nothing, there is nothing better. All aspects, we go back to all aspects of disease deal with the immune system. Remember, the greatest amount of our immune system is in our gut. And we have to maintain that healthy gut health so our immune system can flourish. And when we discuss immune health, we discuss times right now. We discuss COVID. I mean, we're in a pandemic right now. Not only that, there's many other viruses that are out there, and there's many more viruses to come that are going to challenge us. Don't put your immune system in a place where it's challenged by eating incorrectly. Try to spend more time focusing on eating well and eating a good balanced diet to maintain a good health.
There's also a question about what did you think about doing a 24 fast?
Fantastic. I mean, ultimately, it boils down to if it makes you feel well and you feel well, then knock yourself out. You should go ahead and do it. I completely agree with any form of fasting. The more you can do, the better. But ultimately, remember, we're all unique. We all have different other issues, secondary issues that we may have. Some of these things you may want to consult with your primary physician, saying, I'm doing a fast, I'm doing this. I know you guys have an internal team there that speaks much about it, but everybody's a little bit different. So just make sure, as long as you feel fine when you're doing it, go ahead and do it.
And also, I assume you're recommending people go back on their normal supplements after they finish the
100%. Yes, 100%.
One final question, and we'll wrap it up with this. You talked about eating what's right for you. And I would agree with that. I do think everybody's a little different, but how do you go about determining, what is the best eating plan for me?
That's a fantastic question. And one simple method of doing it is blood work and allergy work. There's one particular test. There's various other ones, but one I can mention is, I can tell you about, is ALCAT. You can do an ALCAT test. It's essentially a blood test that tells you your allergies to food. And it gives you every single food that you can eat. And then the blood panel comes back and tells you, they give you this comprehensive report, and all of the different companies that offer this give you a comprehensive report that tells you you have a severe allergy to food. For instance, I'll give you mine. Mine was almonds, avocado, vanilla, tuna, and blueberries.
Mm.
And then you actually went, and we'll go into what I did a little bit ago. And I'll actually tell you a pretty interesting story on it too, which was pretty neat that happened to me. And then I had moderately allergic to, mildly allergic to. And essentially what you do is you avoid all those, and you avoid them for a minimum. They tell you 6 months. I avoided all of them for 3 months, and it was crazy how good I felt, including I had this really, really weird neck pain that wouldn't go away, chiropractor, everything. It was still bothering me. And they actually told me, my chiropractor told me, he's like, you probably have an allergy. He's the one that actually sent me to go do this. This was many years ago. And I started 3 months into it. I first introduced one of the things that I love is, I have vanilla every once in a while. I like vanilla, vanilla, whatever. When I cheat, vanilla ice cream, anything vanilla. One of the first things I introduced was vanilla, and I didn't have any issues. I then introduced tuna. And when I introduced tuna, I noticed I didn't feel well. So I stopped it. During this time, actually, when I stopped eating all this stuff, that neck pain had gone away. And then one day on a flight, I hadn't eaten quite a bit and I was starving. And they came out and they gave a little bag of almonds. And I ate almonds, and it had been about 4 months since I had eaten almonds. And as soon as I got off the plane, that neck pain had came back. So I
Wow.
knew that almonds, yes, I knew that almonds is something that I can't, I can't eat possibly anymore, or I have to avoid. So essentially the things that you can eat, you try to go back to eating them, because you can reprogram your body to be able to eat certain things, but certain things you can't eat. And it's a simple way to test, to see what you digest well and what you can intake well, what allergies you have.
Someone's asked, do you need a doctor's prescription for this test?
I don't think you do. There's many companies that have them out there, and there's also many practitioners throughout the United States that work with different companies that have this. I have colleagues in California, Florida, that I work with that have, just told me, go take this. No, I think I believe that they're the ones that contact. So you're better off going through a doctor. A doctor will contact the company to send you out a kit, because essentially they send you out a kit. You go get a blood draw somewhere with that kit, send it in, and you get results. I believe it's within a week. You get the results back. And it's a very
Great.
comprehensive. It's a very comprehensive report they give you back.
Terrific. I had said that was the last question, but this was a good one, a really good one. So I'll end with this one. A question about alcohol and your views on it, and what is the study showing? Obviously not during your fast, but what did the study show?
Alcohol, first and foremost, alcohol is toxic, and all forms of alcohol, unfortunately, are toxic. I'm not an advocate of alcohol. If you need to drink, you go ahead and drink. It's counterintuitive when we discuss health, fasting. It does relax you, but it's also a temporary relax, because we can get into a really long discussion on it. And I personally, I myself do have a cocktail once in a while. I do it myself. I avoid wine, because the vast majority of wines are very cardiotoxic, because they're loaded with so many toxins, mold, this, that. Even some of the organic ones, based on guidelines here in the United States, are still problematic. It's ultimately, you got to live. You got to live. It's okay to have a drink here and there and live life, enjoy it, because we all know this: here today, gone tomorrow, and we want to be here and have a little bit of fun. So it's restrictions to a specific limit. Always be able to have it, to smile, to have fun, and to know that you're trying the best and you're doing your best all the time to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Veering off is not bad.
Okay, well, we're real happy to hear that. So, well, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, for being with us.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, I
It's a
know that.
pleasure and an honor to be able to talk to you guys and to share knowledge. That's what I do, and that's what I love to do.